Ryan, just general thoughts, first day being back, spring practice, what's it like out there?
Yeah, no pads, but good to see a bunch of guys running around. Good energy out there. Continuation of the off season, which I thought was excellent. You can see guys moving around with a purpose, but different guys are in different phases of their career, and so individually, each guy has different things that they're working on. There's some guys that are just figuring out what to do. Like what exactly, where am I going? Young guys or some newcomers. Then there's guys who have been veteran who played a lot of football, and so they're working on other things. So, and then as a team, we're really working hard on all the no talent issues and building that discipline and skill. But it was a good first day, good energy, but no pads on, so not much to report.
And folks, I'm going to ask. I can only keep Coach about 20 minutes, so I'm going to ask if we could just one question per guy. Bill Landis, Knights of Kings of the North, and the podcast.
Ryan, I guess there's a lot to ask you with the addition of Chip Kelly. I'm kind of curious about just his track record with run game. He's like every year he's been in college, he's had one of the best run games in college football. I'm sure you guys want to run it a little better than you did last year. How much of a hand does he have in kind of crafting that, changing that, just kind of molding that attack as you feel?
Yeah, a huge part of it. I think the great thing for he and I is that we see things the same way. But I think to your point, he brings a background of running the football that is really impressive, and certainly we know what we need to do to run the football. But I think he's excited about the guys that we have. I think some of our guys up front have had really good off season, so excited to see how the offensive line develops over these 15 practices. But also the running backs that we have, and all of our quarterbacks are mobile, so I think that's significant as well. But it's been great, just early on to exchange ideas of things that have gone on the last few years for him, things that we've done here, and as we go, what's going to be right for Ohio State, we'll continue to develop that.
Right behind him, Tony Girdman, Buckeye Huddle.
Ryan asked you a month ago about Sonny Styles. He was with the linebackers today. Is that a permanent thing? What did that conversation?
Yeah, we want to put guys in position to be the most successful they can, but also embrace it. And Sonny has wanted to do whatever he can to help the team, and we know that his skill set is versatile, and we're going to continue to work on that. But you will see him at linebacker. You'll also see do some other things as time goes on, but we think he brings a lot to the table there. He can do so many different things, and I think that's again the exciting part year in and year out is you have different people in different spots, and then you have to figure out how you want to utilize them the best. Today was just day one, real basic, but he was working at linebacker today, so we'll watch the film and continue to build his package.
Front row, Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, Chip has been your coach when you were a quarterback. He's been your boss. He is your mentor, and now you're his boss. How unique is that in your book?
And I think the other part of it is we've been friends, and we continue to be friends, and I think that's probably the thing that over the years, we're both very, very competitive. I could tell you stories, not right now, about when I played or even when we've coached. But then, when the meeting gets over, we get off the field, we're hugging it out, and there's a lot of love there. I owe much of where I am at right now to him. And so this isn't about, any of that as opposed to, a couple guys part of a great program right now that are trying to go chase some great goals. And he's been great. He's really done a great job already of connecting with a bunch of the staff members and coaches, but more importantly, the players. And it's going to be a fun journey to go on, but it's going to be competitive every day. And that's one thing that he's always done and something I've always admired about him and the ability to adapt over time and change. And so, yeah, already it's been fun to come to work every day because you're going to get challenged. But even more as you look ahead to, this spring, this preseason, as we get into the year, where is this team going to be? What's the journey look like? What's the offense look like? But so far it's been, enjoyable to come in and, be able to step out of the room and know that, there's a bunch of guys in our room that are grinding on it, that are going to get it right.
Super quick, is he going to coach from the field or the box?
I don't know if we've talked about that yet. I know he's always been a guy who likes to be down on the field. But we haven't got that far yet.
Rob Muller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Ryan, you've talked about wanting to sort of step back from play calling, see the bigger picture. But the guys yesterday were saying you may be stepping back also from the quarterback room. I mean, you kind of have this tag as the quarterback whisperer.
I wasn't whispering today out there, I can tell you that.
I mean, how have you had to juggle that decision? Because that's kind of what you're known for. That's your strength, but you're kind of backing off that a little bit. That decision, and is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, Chip is coaching the quarterbacks, and so much of what I learned was from him, and vice. We work together in so many different areas, and then I coach for him, and even it's with the Eagles and with the 49ers and with him. There's just a lot of back and forth there, and so there's a lot of conversation, and so I'll still be very much involved, but certainly. Chip is running it. He's going to run the meetings. He's going to do all those types of things. But there's a lot of give and take there as well. A lot of conversation, and but it's a good group of quarterbacks. They've got really good leadership. They've had a really good off season. I think all the feedback we're getting from Mick has been very, very positive. I think we counted up between 7-on-7 and team reps. I think we had 150 reps today, and that's a bunch. And that's great because that's what these guys need, and the more we can spread those around, the better.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Brian, with the quarterback situation, you have some veteran guys,
Yep.
But none of them have a ton of experience in games in your offense. How do you divide up spring reps so that you can get them ready for what you hope will be a successful season, but you've also got some of these young guys that still need work?
Well, I think, like I mentioned, we're trying to get as many as we can. If we can get 150 a day, that's going to be a little bit different maybe when the pads are on. But the more we can get, the better, because these guys all need those reps. And then we'll put a body of work together and kind of figure out, probably halfway through the spring where guys are at and keep going from there. So I think the key is right now we have the ability, because of mid-years and those type of things, to have a pretty full roster, where maybe in the past in the spring, a few years back, before we had so many guys at mid-year, the transfer portal wasn't where it's at right now. The preseason roster would look a lot different than the spring roster. Now, it's there's only going to be a handful of guys that actually come in during the summer. So we're able to get three groups, reps, and equal reps. So again, it all comes down to those reps and making the best of them.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
You mentioned last time we talked to you about Josh Pryor potentially playing some guard in the spring. We saw Luke in there today as well. What do you like about him on the interior?
Well, he's very athletic. He's somebody who, to me, is very skilled in a lot of areas, making the transition to the offensive line here in the last couple of years. We think he's got a very, very high ceiling. And, he's got a list of things that, just like everybody has, that he's going to work on this offseason. He played tackle last year and did some good things. And we think he can still play some tackle. But we also really want to look at him at guard. One, because that's sort of an open spot right now. And then two, we also think with his quickness, he can get on guys quickly and he can bend. And that's very, very important in that position. And so with some of the schemes we're going to be running, we think, he has the skill set in order to do it. So now he just needs the reps to go, prove he can do it. I think we'll come up for air in the spring and figure after spring's over and figure out what kind of progress has been made, evaluate it, and then go from there.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Road.
Ryan, I don't know if you've had a team with this much experience on the spring roster.
Right.
When you have this kind of situation, does it become advantageous for you guys to be able to get so many young guys reps because you can kind of set the veterans off to the side and know that they're taking care of their business?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, there's guys that are different points of their career on the roster right now. And so as time goes on, right now we just want to get as many reps as we can and get these guys going. But as time goes on, I think to your point, we have to evaluate some guys. Some guys are working on getting things better. Let's take a guy like JT or Tyleek or Cody Simon. I mean, they have a list of things that they're trying to get done purposefully this spring. Then there's some guys, take some of the defensive linemen like Jason Moore, Caden McDonald, Will Smith. I mean, these guys are trying to push to get on the field and play. Completely different position. Take a guy like Jeremiah Smith, who's a freshman who just literally, got here about a month or two ago and is learning the offense for the first time. Then you have guys like, Quinshawn or Will who have played football before, but now they're learning our offense. So all different guys in different points of their career. So we want to get as many reps as we can, but knowing that, like you said, there's certain guys that have played a bunch of football here. And, the idea for them isn't to just get as many reps as we can. The idea for them is to be pointed in what we're trying to get done with them as the spring goes on.
Austin Ward, the podcast.
Ryan, you've always talked about the quarterback position battles as carrying over to practice 16 in August. With the way everything has changed in college football, is there any part of you that feels like that there has to be more urgency, or that it can't work that way anymore?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think we'll get a feel for how it all shakes out at the end of the spring. But to your point, it is different because of the portal, window opening, and we do have a bunch of guys in that room. So we're hoping to see some delineation as the spring goes on.
Dan Hope, Left Warriors.
Ryan, obviously, Chip, a lot of his background is, coaching offensive linemen. What made you confident he could be the guy to coach the quarterbacks this year?
He's coached it all for so long, and he was my quarterback coach, and even back in the NFL, he had a huge hand in a lot of the quarterback meetings. He would sit in on the meetings, and I think even back, when I played, he coached all kinds of different positions, and I think that's what gave him, the point of view of seeing it from all 22. I think sometimes guys, they get caught up in one position and. They can kind of get a little bit narrow-minded. He sees it all, has seen it all for a long time, has a great feel for it. And, you want to be, when you're the play caller, you want to be lockstep with the quarterback. Because there's just certain things that, when you're calling a play, we went over that in a meeting, and I'm calling this play for this reason. And when the quarterback understands this is why it's being called for these types of reasons, it's already been covered in the meeting. And if you're in those meetings, then you have intimate details on what exactly is being said. It allows you to call the game with more confidence, making sure that both guys are on the same page, because those are the two guys that have to be on the same page. Yeah.
Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, Chip's teams at Oregon at the time in college football probably played at some of the fastest pace. Maybe the UCLA teams weren't quite that fast, but still over time he's played sort of that up-tempo style. Does that background change anything with what you guys want to do, either practicing down the road sort of thing?
Well, tempo is always going to be a part of what we do. It has changed. Some of the rules have changed. But I think more significantly just about, what Chip's done on offense over the years is, at that time it was innovative to be fast. That was kind of new. And so I think he's always been innovative on how he's done things and put his players in the best situation to be successful. And so what does that look like right now in college football in 2024? That's the journey that we're on right now. Will tempo be a part of it? Yes. Will we go fast every single play? No. Will we huddle every play? Probably not. But maybe. That's part of it. But I think all the different ways that we're going to attack defenses is going to be exciting, but also mixing in the tempos, the personnel groupings. Every team is a little bit different, and so it's not cookie cutter, but I think the point is that he's always been innovative in everything he's done, and then we continue to be that way this year, then we'll have a chance to go reach our goals.
Kellyanne Stitz, WSYX.
Coach, how have you seen Will Howard and the other new faces continue to integrate themselves into the quarterback room?
Well, I think you don't just walk into Ohio State, I've said this before, and just think you're going to go become the starting quarterback. It doesn't work that way. There's just too much pride here. What Mick Marotti and our strength staff does here in the off season, there's just a lot that comes with it. You don't just show up in the weight room and then go home. There's a lot of accountability that happens, and our guys take a lot of pride in that. And so there's only one way to do that, and that's to earn it through respect. But we had our champions meeting yesterday in the first quarter. And we had a bunch of newcomers, grade out as gold, and that's a big deal. And that's how you earn the respect of the guys around you. But that's going to be like that for the freshmen as well. The guys who are coming in and should still be seniors in high school are here trying to do that. Now they're younger and they don't have as much experience as maybe some of the older guys like Will and Quinchon or Caleb Downs. But they still have to earn the respect of the team just as much. And that starts, in the weight room, but ultimately it's going to matter when we get on the field.
Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, last spring you wanted to kind of roam around a little bit more like a CEO type, or just kind of GM of the team. Is the feeling of this practice, was it any different for you knowing you had Chip and a guy who kind of wholeheartedly trusted everything?
Yeah, there's no question, and maybe it isn't exactly where I'm walking around on the field, but where where I'm able to look where my eyes are going, just thinking ahead of the message that maybe I want to give the team, or maybe grabbing a guy on defense and giving a message to him. It just allows me to be more present with the whole operation, which is something that I recognize that I need to do.
Kings of the North.
Just a logistical question. With all these reps you're getting to quarterbacks, are you viewing Will and Devin as the two most veteran guys? Do you want what they get to be equal, like with the ones or with the twos, or is somebody getting more with the ones?
I think at least in the first quarter of the spring, we're just going to let them go play and just get a bunch of reps and roll them. I think as that starts to settle a little bit, we'll start to maybe make sure guys are getting the reps with the ones that need to. But we're going to let them compete, and it's hard for us to say, someone like, Julian saying, or Lincoln, or, Air, or whoever, hey, you're going to come in here and compete when, the first thing they do is take a bunch of reps with the threes. Now, we want to roll you, whatever drill it might be, and so that you're getting reps with everybody so you can show what you do. So we'll compete. We have the fortune of having a little bit of time right now, and then as things shake. I think the big focus, and this is something we talk to our staff about, is in the spring we want to develop the individual player. As we get closer to the preseason, now we start to really grab onto the schemes and the team and the chemistry of the group. Now, you still need to understand the schemes in the spring and how you fit into them, but that's something that we want to make sure we're developing each individual player right now, and that's the focus more than how does he fit in with the scheme or the chemistry of the offense or defense.
And as an extension of that question, Will comes in as a starter from another place. Devin was close last year, right? Was right in that battle. A couple times when he got his chance, he got hurt. He was very emphatic with us yesterday about hey man, I'm here to compete. What do you think of where Devin is just in this fight right now?
I was impressed with how he practiced today. He had good demeanor. He had that same conviction out in practice today that he shared with you guys the past couple days. And so if he keeps building like that, he's going to have a hell of a spring.
Ryan, Cotton Bowl, you mentioned that Carson Hampton was struggling a little bit, didn't play in that game. How's he doing now? How do you view that center competition with Seth?
He had a really good last couple months. It was excellent with Mick. I think having that year of experience has really helped him. His numbers in the weight room are very, very good. So the combination of having a year under his belt and having a good off season, allows him a great opportunity to go compete this spring. We'll kind of see what it all looks like here. Again, the pads aren't on, so with the offensive line, we won't know anything for a little while. But we've seen strides for him, and again, improvement marked with, or combined with the fact that he played last year a bunch, and we won a bunch of games with him in there. That matters. So, I'm fired up to see what he looks like here as we head into the middle of spring.
The individual with the quarterbacks. For Julian and Air, I guess, is there anything in particular that you're looking for them to maximize their spring if they come away saying we did this or got better at that would maximize their spring? I know they're just trying to find their way right now.
Yeah, but you're right. They're learning what to do. That's the first level. We talked about this before. The first level is what to do, then how to do it, then why you're doing it, and what is the first thing right now. That being said, make great decisions, be confident, and take care of the football is going to be the things that they got to do. Compete your tail off, trust it. But they also have to put in a little extra work because they don't know. So, when you walk on the field, can you take a meeting to the field, or do you need 3 or 4 reps in order to say, okay, now I got it? As opposed to the real good ones, it's one mistake, I learn from it, I move on, and I continue to build fast. If we can see those type of trends, then we'll have something.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, obviously just first day, but I was curious your very first impressions of the new guys, of Will, seeing them on the field, Will and Caleb Downs and Quinn Shawn, Seth McLaughlin, and even Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, I think all flashed. You noticed them. When it's going that fast or we're getting that many reps, it's hard to really focus on one guy, but they all flashed at times, and so we'll get on the film and kind of look, but you can see the talent in all of those guys.
You made it pretty clear that Chip's coming here to run your offense. I think he said, a similar thing, the Ohio State offense. At the same time, I know this is a more developmental time, but how much are you guys talking scheme and chalk yet, and how excited are you to see sort of his brain, your offense running through his brain, I guess?
Well, I think the thing is, in terms of terminology, I think it was important to keep a lot of the terminology because our guys already knew it. So in day one of spring, there was a quick, learning curve on some of it. Now that being said, what we've done here has been a lot of what I learned from him when I was with him before. So this is not like two different offenses trying to come together. What we've done here, there's been a lot of great things. What he's done has been by the way, again, a lot of what we've done is what I took when I came from the NFL from him, and when I played for him. So there's just so many things in common, and a lot of times we'll be in meetings and he'll kind of look at me and say, is it this play? Yes, it's just another word for it. So the terminology we tried to keep somewhat intact. He's made some tweaks already to the run game that I think have been excellent, and will continue to be that way. But it is important, I think, as I've thought about this, to make sure that we are keeping it the Ohio State offense. This is not my offense or his offense or somebody else's offense. This is the Ohio State offense, because we want it to be sustainable. We don't want someone to come in or come out and then all of a sudden has to change. And I think that's been important to make sure that continues now through into the future.
Whitney Harding, WCMH.
Ryan, lots of new faces today, and having Chip now here with you, just kind of a softball question here. Was it fun out there today? Because there's so much pressure we always talk about here. Right. Was there any different level of fun today versus maybe the last couple of years?
I think being around a group of guys that enjoy being at work every day like they are is fun. Yeah, it is. And it has to do with, the staff, but it really comes down to the players. These guys bring energy every day. They enjoy being out there. They're as close to NFL players and pro players as I've been around. They're very, very competitive. They can't wait to get the pads on, but it's fun to be around guys like that. And you have to bring it every day as a coach here. When you walk in front of these guys or you have a meeting in front of these guys, you better be prepared, because they have a high level of expectation that we're going to coach at a high level. And we're all holding each other accountable right now. And so, yeah, that is fun as a coach.
And we'll wrap it up with Tim May from the Tim May Show and Letterman Row.
Yeah, following up on that, that's what I wanted to ask you. You brought the team together before the practice started and laid out some things, but was there ever a moment today when you were roaming around and maybe ranting sometimes and things where you just kind of like looked at, there's Caleb Downs, there's Jeremiah Smith, there's all these returnees, there's the quarterback room where you kind of went, damn, I mean, this is a pretty good assemblage of talent, and do you kind of like swallow hard there too, like,
yeah,
people are expecting a lot about that from this.
Yeah. I think during our workouts and mat drills or seeing some of the team runs is kind of when you think about those type of things. You look at the guys and you see the potential, and it gets you really excited. But then, as much talent as we have, it's going to be the no talent issues that actually help us win and reach our goals. So that's been the focus now. And so once we get on the field, it's that's what you focus on. It isn't seeing Jeremiah run a go ball, like that's great, but like it's it's the discipline of knowing what to do. It's the focus. It's running to the ball. It's effort. It's energy. It's all the things that again take no talent. And so that's going to be the focus. It's not about the talent anymore. That was about the last couple months. Now we need to acquire the skill and discipline it's going to take to go reach our goals, and that's what spring's all about.
Can I ask one quick follow-up?
Of course.
Has Chip embraced this role of working under you? I mean, how have you noticed his approach?
I just, again, he and I have always had a relationship. It was never really like that, even, when I played for him or worked under him. We worked together, and I don't look at it like he works for me. He works with me. And that's just the way I've always been, because I love him and have for a long time. And I don't think he looks at it that way either. And so we both want to reach a goal just like everybody else. We're fortunate to be around such a great program, that has unbelievable tradition, but in a place where, we have what's in place to go reach our goals next year. And I think that's what fires us both up, but just everybody else on the staff as well.
We do have one last question. Bill Landis, Kings of the North.
Yeah, just curious, is there anybody that you know is not available for spring ball?
Yeah, we do have some guys that aren't available. I don't know, Jerry, if we talked about that. Do you want to go through a couple of those guys that won't be available this spring?
The guys that won't be practicing out there this spring will be Malik Hartford, Peyton Pierce, Miles Walker, Bryce West, and Court Williams.
But it's fair to say that we would expect all those guys back in the preseason, though. So, but they just won't be participating this spring. Everybody else, there will be a couple guys maybe that are limited, but everybody else will be able to go. Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Ryan.